Welcome to A2Council Update, a recap of the Ann Arbor City Council meeting on October 2nd, 2023. This meeting included 7 minutes of discussion on 2 topics: a resolution directing the city administrator to strongly encourage DTE to improve reliability and resilience, and a report outlining nearly $2 million in city expense in response to weather events and power outages. This is the voting chart for the council meeting on October 2nd, 2023. You can find this voting chart and more information about this meeting at A2Council.com. Like and subscribe if you would like to see more content like this. The meeting included a monthly report from Dr. Stephanie Carter, Chair of the Independent Community Police Oversight Commission, or ICPOC. She shared information about a recent public meeting and a desire for more funding and support for community policing.
There were good questions that came out and comments. Dr. Karpiak gave his report. He had a slide presentation with regard to the traffic stop report. And as I have reported before, you've probably seen, if you've seen a copy of the report, the greatest disparity had to do with males of color, and also had to do with stops for equipment violation. I think it'll be real interesting to see if the new ordinance has an effect on the discrimination that we saw with the traffic stops. I don't know exactly how to bring this up because money is always an issue, but we had a comment that came in Wednesday night that I've heard over and over. The communities want community policing. And what that sort of means is they like to have police officers that they know, that they can trust, that are in their communities, that know the residents there. It's my understanding the last time that we had that kind of program, there was money, there was funding from someplace else.
5 people signed up in advance to offer public comment. 1 person spoke to an issue on the consent agenda. The consent agenda included 19 items and over $8.9 million in expenditures. Nothing was pulled for discussion. All items were approved unanimously. Council considered a single item on the regular agenda, a resolution directing the city administrator to strongly encourage DTE to improve infrastructure and bury power lines. Council made statements in support of it for about 7 minutes.
At a recent Energy Commission meeting, we heard from a representative of DTE who, in an apparent reversal from previous conversations we've had with them, suggested that DTE is suddenly interested in burying power lines in high-impact areas throughout the city, particularly when the city already has planned road or public service projects happening in the area. This is one of many tactics that need to be fully explored and implemented wherever feasible to strengthen our entire regional energy grid.
In discussion of the resolution, Council referred to a communication attached to the agenda. Communication AC4 was a report on city cost and expenses related to extreme weather events and power outages this year. That report identified over $1.8 million in city expenditures in response to storms and power outages this year.
We can see that it's close to $2 million that we faced this year. And beyond that, DTE's sort of ongoing it appears to be surprised that there might be emergencies that are happening throughout the year. The fact that we don't, it's outlined in this report that it's not clear that they actually have an emergency management process, that they're not communicating to the city, that we can't communicate with them, that our fire department can't communicate with them. There are really too many points here, but they should definitely be, the community should read through this and understand how much DTE is shouldering and displacing the cost on communities like ours.
I think one point of clarification around the report is that this $2 million is around 3 events that have happened in the first half of this year.
This report was requested in August and covered 3 storm events that occurred in late February, early March, late June, and late July that prompted community questions about resilience hubs. The fire department reported additional expenses of less than $13,000 for overtime and storm-related incidents, some of which were related to failures in DTE infrastructure and service. This week's report clarifies that the bulk of storm-related city costs was in response to the first storm event in late February and early March, including $1.5 million of expenditures in the Public Works Department, which managed a citywide tree limb and branch pickup service. On February 22nd, an ice storm caused a significant number of downed limbs and power outages. On February 24th, the city emailed residents a message from the city administrator thanking city council members for expressing a desire for city staff to expend and explore every resource possible to serve our community. On February 27th, the city released news that residents should collect, bundle, and place branches and limbs on street curbs by 7 a.m. on March 6th for collection by the city. On March 3rd, a heavy snowstorm caused yet more damage and fallen tree limbs. At the March 20th council meeting, Mr. Dehoney explained to council.
We have also extended the contract with Davy Tree Expert Company with an emergency purchase order of $200,000. For full transparency with the council, I have signed that to keep the work going rather than stopping it until we could get the contract to council. We have also contacted 3 additional companies and are trying to determine if they can help us to expedite the issue. We estimate that it will take another month to make our way through the city. We believe we will need to expend a total of $750,000 in order to complete the sweep.
At their meeting on April 3rd, council unanimously approved a purchase order for $450,000 to pay for tree limb pickup service. Documents attached to this agenda item include a purchase order dated March 8th and a staff request for authorization of that purchase order dated March 17th.
And so we have offered this free and follow-on service to residents to pick up street trees throughout the community. It, of course, costs a fair bit of coin because we are requiring, contracting folks who are not presently city employees to pick up hundreds of tons of trees that we were not anticipating, that were not in our prior work plan.
City staff explained that the $450,000 purchase order was unlikely to cover all expenses related to the promised tree limb pickup service, and that the work was not even half completed, 1 month after the commitment was made.
And that we're about a third of the way through the city right now, and as we get into new neighborhoods, it's hard to know. It hasn't hit the whole city equally. So we're continuing to evaluate as we move through the city, and we'll probably have better information on what we anticipate the full cost to be in a few more weeks.
In the weeks following the February and March storms, residents across the city left branches and limbs on public rights-of-way, some of it related to actual storm damage, and some of it the result of general trimming and maintenance of trees on private property. Staff recommends a more careful plan in the future, considering the difference between impacts on public rights-of-way and private property. Council unanimously approved the resolution directing the city administrator to strongly encourage DTE to make improvements. The meeting adjourned before 7:40 p.m. without any additional public comments. For more details about this meeting, visit A2Council.com.